Hi guys, if you just looked at that last video and you're like, nope, that's not my quiz, here you go. This is quiz B for module 1.1 to 1.2. We were supposed to write everything in interval notation. So first we have all real numbers between 3 and 4, sorry, negative 3 and 4, not including either of them. So since we're not including them, they get parentheses and not square brackets. Remember, parentheses means you're not including it, square brackets means you are. So for B, this guy is going on to negative infinity. So for this portion here, I've got everything from negative infinity to 7. It's an open circle, so we're not including that up. Union with, so the other part of it is from 11 to infinity. And since we have a closed circle here on 11, that 11 is going to have a square bracket. For C, where everything is less than or equal to 5, so the lowest is negative infinity, highest value is up at 5. Since we're including it, it gets a square bracket. D tripped up a lot of people, so it says x is not equal to 7. So in other words, I can have any x I want, except for 7. So I'm going to go from negative infinity up to 7, but not include it. And I'm going to union that with 7 to infinity, again, not including the 7. Number 2, it says list the number that would be contained in all the solution sets given below. So we're going to start with 3 to 10. It could be any number, including 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, 6.25, 7 times the square root of 3. Any of these guys would work. But I'm just going to do the whole numbers because those are easy. All right, the second says set of all x's such that x is less than 15. Well, all of these guys are less than 15, so we've already satisfied those. However, this next one says x is greater than or equal to 7, which means we can't have 3, 4, 5, or 6, because it's got to be 7 or bigger. And then the last one says between negative 5 and 20. All these guys here end up between negative 5 and 20. So you could have given me any of these guys. You could have given me 7.1, 7.36. You could have given me a really crazy number, but I'm glad no one really did. I was looking for 7, 8, 9, or 10, and a lot of you got that. Moving on to number 3, we've got a graph here that we need to solve some, or answer some questions about. First it says list an interval, and this should say where the function's values are negative. So we are negative values for this portion of our graph. And so that's between negative 3 and negative 1. If you said between negative 2 and negative 1, I accepted it. If you said between negative 3 and negative 2, any variation like that, totally worth it. I mean, totally acceptable. The only one would be is if you put square brackets on it. That's not true. Because when you're at at negative 3, where our y value is 0. 0 is not negative or positive. So as long as you stayed between negative 3 and negative 1, I would have accepted anything in there. B says, what is the minimum value of the graph? So this is the lowest value of our graph, and that would be down here at negative 1. C says, state the domain in set notation. So set notation starts with squiggly set brackets. We're talking about x's such that what? So we are going from negative 4 to positive 4. So x is between negative 4 and positive 4. We're not including negative 4, but we are including positive 4 because it's got the closed dot, so it gets the equal sign. Stating the range in set notation, again, we're starting with squiggly set brackets. Now we're talking about y's. So we've got all the y's from negative 1 all the way up here to 6. And since we're going through those values, both of those guys are included. The zeros of the function are where it crosses the x-axis. So our zeros are here at negative 3 and negative 1. It says find the value of h of 2. So for h of 2, that's when x is equal to 2. When x is 2, I go up, and my y value is 6. G says if h of x, so if my y value is negative 1, what's x? So when my y value is -1, my x value, when my y value is -1, my x value is -2. And then find the average rate of change over the interval -3, -1. So between -3 and -1, I'm at 0 at both of those locations. So going from 0 to 0 is 0. Going from -3 to -1 is 2. So my slope would be 0 divided by 2, which is just 0. All right, number 4. This time we've got a table, and they're asking us similar kinds of questions. So first, find the value of f of 0. F of 0 is when x is 0. The y value when x is 0 is -2. Over the interval from -1 to 2, what are our y's doing? They are increasing. They're going from negative to positive, so they're increasing. When y is equal to 5, what's my x value? It's 2. What is the average rate of change from -1 to 1? So we're looking at this interval here. So from -1 to 1, it's changing by +2. When going from -7 to 3, we're going up 7 to get to 0, another 3. So 7 plus 3, we're going up 10. So my average rate of change there would be 10 divided by 2, which is 5. All right, here's another table. It says Pete asked 5 people their ages and the number of times per month they ate fast food. If the data collected is considered as ordered pairs, what is the range? So this is our domain column. This is our range column. So we automatically know if we're looking for range, we're looking for 20 to, well, it's like 10, 12, 20, and 24. So it's not going to be these two guys. Why isn't it this one here? And the reason is we are talking about times per month, right? So we can't eat at somewhere 10.5 times or 10.6 times. It's not a continuous function. This is discrete data. It's 10, 12, 20, or 24 times. So our answer here would be A. All right, given this graph, we've got about 6, 7 questions. So which of the following statements, this is important, are true? So we're looking for things that are true. So A says g of x is increasing on the intervals from -3 to 0, and our y's are getting bigger there, so that one checks out. And then from 1 to 3, and our y's are getting bigger there. And then from 5 to 6, and our y's are getting bigger there as well, so that one's true. All right, next one says the domain is -3 and 6 inclusive on both sides. So I agree that we include -3 over here, but our 6 value over here, I've got an open circle, so this should be a parentheses. So this one is not true. Sorry, A is true, C is not, or B is not. All right, then it says a 0 of the function occurs at -2, 0. That's true. We are crossing the graph at -2, 0. Oh, I'm not doing very good. It's Friday, I need to get out of here. There we go, C is true. All right, the 0.61 is included in the function. Here's the 0.61, it's an open circle, so that is not included in the function. This next one is a little bit debatable, but it says the function has exactly 1 minimum and 2 maximum values. So if you have 2 maximum values, I think we all can agree on that. But it does not have just 1 minimum. We've got a minimum value here. We've got a minimum value here, and some might say that that's a minimum value. So that one is false. All right. The range of g of x is -infinity to infinity. That wouldn't be right. That would only be if these guys went on with arrows. And the last one says the y-intercept of g of x is 0, 4. So this graph does cross up here at 0, 4. So G would be correct. Last problem, number 11, be careful. I think a lot of you didn't see the false part. Make sure you read the instructions very closely. You saw the graph as a function, you looked at it as a function, and you chose A.